everybody, I'm back in the game. This is my time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Never lay down, never give up. I am a fighter. match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from Loudon, New Hampshire. The virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway is the site of round 18 for the drivers of the Northwest Racing Series. The Cup cars, Monday night, we're ready to bring it to you. Welcome to iRacing on LSRTV, simulcast on CRN 87.9 FM and on the community radio network at wearecrn.com. I am Wesley Outland. Our buddy up in Canada, Justin Prince, is alongside. Of course, we've got Rocket Media, producer for iRacing on LSRTV, Charles Wooten in the production truck in Texas. I'll tell you what, Justin, obviously we're down to this final stretch of races before we lock in who's going to go to the round of 12 in the playoffs. But if there is a wild card that might not be considered a wild card, it has to be New Hampshire and what could ever happen here at the Magic Mile.
The Magic Mile was very tricky, to say the very least, for some drivers to be able to execute properly to make passes around this racetrack. Shifting may come into play for some drivers. Keep in mind as well tonight, Wesley, it's been talked about for plenty of them that they might go towards the third and fourth gears throughout the race or stick in fourth gear. So that will be something to keep an eye on throughout tonight as this race progresses here in the mid-afternoon here at the Magic Mile.
Yeah, let's take a look at what is real fast. The virtual sim weather temperatures, bottom right of the monitor, 85 degrees air temp here at New Hampshire. Wind speed at 15 miles an hour, so it's a nice little breeze going in. The track temp is really, really hot. 117, partly cloudy skies, sun poking in and out along the way. It's beaming on the Magic Mile right now. But I will say this, though, Justin. We have dealt with some really scorching track temps in the last couple of weeks, especially for the Cup and truck drivers of the Northwest.
Well, it is the summertime, so it should be expected to see the temperatures go up a bit. This is one of the hotter air temperatures, though I will note, we've seen throughout this season at the 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So some of these drivers may have that to consider when it comes to how tricky it can be. Drive around this circuit and make sure they don't get loose coming off of turn 2 and turn 4 in particular. Turn 2 especially is a dangerous spot here, Wesley, especially with the hot track temperature.
Yeah, we've got qualifying on track right now as these drivers are looking to put down the best lap that they can. And Dylan Huffines just turned a 30-70. All this going on here within the next less than 13 minutes. So once everybody comes out of the driver's meeting, they get the opportunity to come on track and see what they can do as far as putting the best lap down on qualifying. The decisions will then be made of when we go ahead and put a halt on the qualifying and then, of course, go right into race mode. There's Toby Ritters, the Thunder Road Budweiser King of Beers, number 23. And I'll be honest with you, he's had some pretty successful top 10 runs here the last couple of weeks on the series, Justin.
The momentum's definitely smiled upon Toby Ritters. He's broken into the top 10 in points, in fact, for the season overall. So Toby Ritters does have some good consistency coming in. The tough thing's going to be, how does it fare out on a short track like this one tonight? Because he's been able to do so on the 1.5 miles in particular the past few weeks on some of the bigger tracks. But this track is a different type of beast when it comes to how you enter these corners and break in. You already see him right now, 9th in the qualifying session, about 3/10 nearly off the pole time set by Huffine so far.
Toby Ritters right now, 9th, as he works his way off of turn number 4. I'll tell you what, Justin, what type of race do you think we're going to see here tonight at the Magic Mile for these drivers' first time of the Northwest taking on New Hampshire? Especially with this new next-gen car, might I add.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some fairly longer runs when it comes to tonight, because in practice, everyone seemed pretty tame. It's just a matter of, once we get into where the tire wear really settles on in, that's where I think we'll see some of the big comers and goers and see the potential of drivers spinning it off at turn 2 in the grass, because that's where I think a lot of people are going to showcase how much they may have burned up the right rear tire, or in some cases may plow the wall down with the right front tire being burned up. That's where I think that's going to come into play around lap 20 or lap 30, especially of this race tonight. If we get past that point without any trouble, I wouldn't be shocked to see this race get nearly to green flag pit stops, if anything, for tonight. After all, when you break it down on the fuel, Wesley, it is a one-stopper on gas by about 5 laps.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that as we watch now Stephen Paulison work his way around the racetrack. Of course, tonight is Pocono. Caden Anderson is the man that is leading the point standings. We'll look at the points here in just a moment. They are going to go 140 laps, 140 miles around Pocono, around New Hampshire coming up. Last week, I was mentioning Pocono. Dan West Jr. picked up the win. And right now, it is the driver of New Hampshire's qualifying, continuing on with Dylan Huffines at the top of the board right now. Paulison just put it about mid-pack in the top 15 there, Justin.
And that's still with Cole Raz, who hasn't set a qualifying time, trying to. Caden Anderson just completed a first lap, has not started off qualifying well. The second laps, I've noticed for some, that's where the momentum's really built up when it comes to this next-gen car, though. They're running out of time, though. Drivers were warned that they'd only get to 9 minutes to go in the session. They have 40 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like that is definitely going to end it here. So basically, if you're going to put a lap down, you better come out on the racetrack and you better go now. And by the way, with 40 seconds about to pop up on the clock here, Justin, there is about 12 cars that are not going to take time. I don't think they're going to be able to make it.
Well, in most cases, I think they're just trying to keep it conservative tonight. See how they fare out with where they're settling in grid slot-wise and try and get to the traffic. That's the major thing. Cole Raz, it's worth noting, towards the end of the session, did jump up to 3rd place, but the rest of the field is all set to go for tonight. 9 minutes, burn off the clock, just waiting to see the transition as the rest of the competitors wait to see what happens here.
Yeah, that transition will go to 10 seconds rapidly here, and then it will move into the final countdown mode, if you will, here down the stretch. As all the while, we do see Paulison making some other laps, and there is the trigger, and just like that, qualifying is done, and Dylan Huffines is going to go to the pole. Here's your starting lineup for round 18 of the Northwest Racing Series Cup cars at the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. Fast qualifier, Dylan Huffines in the number 20. To the outside, Devin West in car number 5. Row 2, we'll find Cole Raz in the 10. Sean Brightsman, the 2020 Series champion, in the 46. Row 3, Chris White, 2021 Series champion, in the 6. To the outside, Casey Garber, the 94. Row 4, here at New Hampshire, Lake Peterson, probably one of the dominant men of the Northwest this year, the 9, and the 2021 ARCA Northwest Sim champion, Brian Blumen, 25. Row 10, Jeff Stabnow, Billings, Montana, number 24, and Dan Lowther, the green and white 63. He'll fire off in the number 10 spot.
11th spot tonight in row 6 is Caden Anderson, looking to charge from the head of the pack. He's the points leader for the overall season standings entering tonight. He'll start alongside Toby Ritters, as Clifford will start in 12. Then it's row 7. Brent Johnson's number 7 machine will start alongside Aaron Cooper, in the 71 car. Row 8 features Brian Reynolds. The 12 car will start alongside the final driver on time, Stephen Paulison, in the number 58. Behind them, Justin Yee, worth noting, is currently not at the facility. We'll see if Yee is able to make it in time, with Brian Barnes, in turn, moving up a grid slot. Originally was set to start in row 9. Kevin Smith, BJ Tidrick next in the lineup card in turn, 18th, 19th overall on the board. Then 20th overall, Frank Harris for tonight's action to round out the top 20.
Yeah, Frank Harris will be in the number 11. Carl Burke in the 53. I believe these are drivers that did not take time. Ron Hunter in the 22. Troy Daggett, row number 12, 22 and 99. Tyler Kim in the 30. Chris Kamari in the number 15, row 13. Row 14, Chad Malik making his second career Northwest start. He debuted with the trucks last week. And we get ready now to see what he will do in the tail of the field. Riding dirty, number 20. Beautiful Chevrolet Camaro, the virtual sim of the Northwest, and Dylan Huffines will be the man that will lead him to the green flag. Devin West up on the outside, the Bristol Dirt winner 2 years in a row, and ready to go here. Pace car will drop onto the pit lane. The field will make their way to the starter's box out of turn number 4. We're ready. 140 laps, ladies and gentlemen. You have a virtual race. We are green flag here at New Hampshire. The Magic Mile is underway, Justin, as they sit into turn number 1.
Clean start for the runners as Dylan Huffines gets himself single file for the exit off to turn 2. Big bobbles, though, for the top 2 coming off to the back straightaway. That is expected to be a trouble spot for drivers throughout the night. Meanwhile, the battle is on for about what is 6th on back. Peterson zipping on by Casey Garber. Ryan Bloom looking to ride his Broncos. The Boise State Broncos inside down the front.
Huffines will lead lap number 1, and there you see Snap now quickly trying to make some fast moves on some cars like Garber and company to try to get into the top end. It's down below the bottom of the racetrack. Goes the points leader, Caden Anderson. Keeps on going, shrugs it off. They'll work it off into turn number 3.
Off to the corner, and that's the major thing. This track expected to be where the second and third lines may come into play. Some drivers may even consider the apron line at some point during this race, so different line migration expected for some of the competitors as this night progresses.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for sure, as Huffines is the man out in front. There's Garber. There you see the number 9 of Peterson. That Chris White has went from a solid green car to a kind of a rainbow-looking machine.
To cut his way to the pack behind Brian Barnes.
Now, have you tried any of that dubby stuff yet, Justin?
Not yet. Oh, and more trouble for Anderson.
Oh, no.
He's hit the bottom of the track again. That first seam is a danger spot for drivers. After all, it's a little bit flatter compared to the second line on up the track, Wesley.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Yep, here he comes. He's back. Charles, are we good? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with you. Had a little lag issue there, but I think we're back again. As right now, Dylan Huffines is still the leader. No change in that position. But Justin, you were talking one thing about Caden Anderson, the points leader, not having a good night so far, and just struggling now. And if you remember, he won the truck race on Thursday night as well.
Yeah, he's been struggling, but Dylan Huffines just went way up the track in the battle for the race lead with Cole Raz and went straight nearly to the wall. Raz is to the lead. Huffines has dropped to third after a lot of fly swatting behind the wheel for Huffines.
Wow. So all that going on, we'll keep an eye on is all the while. There you see Raz, the leader. Now the number 10 up in front. Devin West the second. Huffines the pole car, falling back down to the number 3 position. Peterson, Brightsman, your top 5. They go off into turn 3 at the Magic Mile in the early going.
So the rhythm settling in, and that's the major thing we discussed during the pre-race is the comers and goers expected to come into droves tonight. as drivers battle the conditions, whether it's tight on the entry, whether it's snapped loose on the exits. That's going to be a major talking point throughout this entire run. Expect that to get bigger. Cole Raz he loops it for the lead off of turn 2.
Now, Cole Raz sideways there as here comes Devin West. Going to take advantage of that weakness for the number 10, and West will capitalize and go to the lead as they work out of turn number 3 and 4. Will he return the favor, give him a bumper? No, he will not. Put the 5 to the lead in turn number 1 as we work down lap 10 next time by here in New Hampshire.
It seems as though the rhythm so far, the clean air, the more you push, the more slippy slidey you can get. So far, Devin West, though, able to hold on now as the new race leader. The wash seater and supply machine runs through turns 3 and 4, uses the third line, but Raz wants to use the second inside.
Now, all that going on as they work their way back across the start-finish line through the Geico restart zone. Single file for West, Raz, Huffines, Peterson, White. That's the way they stand right now as this race goes on for the lead out of turn number 2.
Raz again trying to wrap the bottom around the second line. Back to the single file. Behind them, Brightsman nearly loops it to the inside. Able to hold on to it. The battle for the lead rumbles back through turn 3. Raz changes up the line this time.
Yeah, another lap on the board is again Devin West jumping up into the front in the early going here. And man, I'm trying to remember minimal caution flags whenever we were at New Hampshire last week with Sim 500. I gotta wonder here if we're gonna see the same thing, Justin, tonight for the Northwest Cup cars. Right now, so far, clean and green.
It's very easy for this race to end up going green, even with drivers making mistakes and building up incidents. For example, Tyler Kim, moments ago, made contact with a wall and is now in the pit lane with massive front end damage. So expect tonight, one of those nights where mistakes do come into play a lot, but not so much the caution flags that end up saving some from some of those mistakes.
All this continuing on as we watch these drivers hit the back straightaway going to turn number 3. It's still West the leader. There's Chris White. Chris White now trying to run down Lake Peterson and Dylan Huffines for that position on the racetrack. All the while, they work out of turn number 4. Pretty much, I got to be honest here, John. Me and John talked about this about the Sim 500 race last week, Justin. This race so far, kind of similar. They get out, they get in a line, they get comfortable, they stay, they knock off laps. And honestly, besides the battle for the lead that we've seen between Huffines and West, and then now West and Raz going at it, tear side by side out of turn 4, it's been pretty much calm, cool, collective in the early going of this race.
I think, again, that's based on the trends, usually the summertime swing. But Cole Raz swings the car to the inside to clear on by Devin West. Nice and calm, use the side draft to be able to get the pullback on Devin West as they rumble their way to the back straightaway. And keep in mind, during the summer, usually this run of races like New Hampshire, Pocono, Michigan can trend towards long green flag runs in the real world at times.
Raz still the man. There you see Huffines, the man that started this race. He now sits in the number 3 spot. He started on the pole, mind you, followed by Peterson. All of this happening on track right now as these under the opening laps of this event, obviously. There you see on board Chris White's car, number 6. Solid green for a while there, and then he changes up his flavor for the dummy machine, as you mentioned, Justin, and trying to come after the 9 of Lake Peterson. And while that happens, Peterson going on the ride and dirty Chevrolet of Huffines, and the battle for the lead continues up in front of them as you're still on board with Chris White for over a lap in turn 3.
Now off towards turn 3, you've seen some of the gearing. Drivers sticking towards 4th gear and staying in it. Not too many shifting moments so far. West having drifting moments out of the turn 4, saves it.
Drifting moments, save your car. Stay in that nice little spot. Peterson now going up the hill. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, trouble. It's for the battle for 22nd. Carl Burke involved in the caution flag with Troy Daggett, who was a lap down to bring us under our first caution of the night. And this could get interesting. Frank Harris was also a big time involved with Chris Cameri.
So the yellow flag will fly for the first time here on lap number 19, working lap number 20. And here is a look at what happened here on the replay.
It all started up the road as a result of some contact, and then Troy Daggett right in the middle of the road for Carl Burke.
Oh, man, tough right there. Cameri, there you see the 99 also caught up in it. That's a very unique dark color on that wrap job for that car, isn't it? For the 99, the driver there of, oh, sorry, I got it here, of Troy Daggett. He's changed up his wrap job.
Very matte blue machine with very chrome gold numbers. Frank Harris coming from the 4th line. Right into the door. Daggett tries to lock it down and saves it. Carl Burke doesn't know that happened up the road and nowhere to go. Brings us under our first caution, but interestingly enough, half the field pits, half the field does not. Your race leaders, though, staying out here.
So, with that being said, we go back under the yellow flag again here. Caution out. Obviously, I'm thinking we're going to see some takers come to the pits, obviously. Would you think so? Obviously, early in the going, Justin, 20 laps in, 120 to go. You think you're going to see some takers come to the pits here, or you think we still got a pretty good ways to go here at the Magic Mile?
Well, as mentioned, we've seen some takers, but the interesting thing, Wesley, is, for one, there's only 3 sets in the pits tonight. That's not a lot to say, okay, if there's more trouble, I'm going to take a set here. It's very, very tough to say it's time to take the tires at this point when you only have 2 sets for the rest of the way for about 120 laps. So in other words, no is the answer for a majority of these drivers. But keep in mind, those drivers on the new tires are going to be flying through the pack. Tire wear and fall off known on the trends to be big. Something's going on with Anderson, though, in turn 3. Anderson locked it up and is having an issue trying to get going and just finally got rolling in the 37.
Oh, no.
And he was one of the pitters.
Yeah, it's not good for the driver there of the 37 of Anderson. Lap 22 of 140. We just saw some cars coming out of the pits. All the while, it is the leader, Cole Raz, up in front. Devin West in second. Pole car, Dylan Huffines now to third. Chris White fourth. Blake Peterson in fifth. And that is the way it stands with Ryan Bloom, Jeff Stabnow, Casey Garber, Brian Reynolds, and Kevin Smith right now, the top 10 here. So, and I also say this, for the first time today, a lot of cloud cover on the virtual sim over New Hampshire, obviously, right now. In the early going, is that too good on handling so far? Or, Justin, do you think it's really changing these cars and giving them a hiccup right now?
Well, the handling throughout that entire first run, some of the drivers looked like they were on eggshells just about, or in the midst of an ice patch. So I think this is a very, very helpful cloud. The track temperature has already gone down 5 degrees Fahrenheit since this cloud covered over the racetrack. Remember, it was 117 in qualifying.
Right.
This could be very, very beneficial for some.
Well, with that being said, we'll get ready to send them back off to the restart zone. Go back to racing again here after the first caution of this race. The field to get ready to come back to the restart zone. In the box, green flag in the air. Geico restart. Cole Raz picking up speed on Devin West. Huffines going after it with Chris White. All of this taking place on the restart for the first time at New Hampshire on lap 23 as they hit the back straightaway going to turn number 3, Justin.
Devin West elects to back it up. Chris White elects to launch it up around the third line. Huff Vines tries to rattle around on the second line inside of Chris White. Keeps the battle up for a moment as both of them bobble. Chris White clears for the front straightaway. Oh, and trouble towards the back. It's 12 on back involved in trouble. Frank Harris, Stephen Paulison, BJ Tidrick, Dan Lowther. No caution yet. We stay green.
It's out.
Now it's out.
Yeah, we're under yellow flag. And Tidrick involved. I saw Ritters. Some other cars pulling away. Frank Harris, the legend. Here's the replay. Caution out. Justin Prince, second time you saw it break loose in 3.
It's not been a great start for Frank Harris involved in this one, but BJ Tidrick is a part of the trigger this time. Amongst those battling with those pitting and loops it down off Brightsman right across the track. And 5 or 6 nearly joining in with some significant damage. Chris Camary amongst those out of dodge. Ron Hunter, significant damage. And now Dan Lowther also picking up significant damage too. Toby Ritter's in it as well in the vicinity. Just nowhere for plenty of these drivers to go.
Oh, man. So, caution is out again. 25 laps completed. Bo Raz, of course, the leader of the number 10. Will he come to the pits? Obviously, I don't think he will. And the other takers behind him. Yellow flag coming out for the second time. And behind the top 13, some cars come in. Obviously, Ron Hunter, Aaron Cooper, Frank Harris, Chad Malik, Toby Ritter, some of those cars that was involved in the accident. Obviously, Dan Lowther and BJ Tidrick also caught up in it. Second flag of yellow. Caution out for the second time here as 26 laps are completed. We're going to go side by side. We're going to step away, and we'll be back to pause for 10 seconds of network identification on CRN, the Community Radio Network with the Northwest Racing Series.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. All right, so we're back here at New Hampshire. Welcome back. Still under the yellow flag. Justin Prince, Wesley Outland back here with you. Of course, the people behind the scenes like Charles Woot running the boards here for Rocket Media, iRacing on LSRTV, simulcast on the Community Radio Network. And Justin, we had a nice, calm 20-plus lap green flag run, and then since then, 2 yellow flags, multi-car accidents, and what's that old cliche? Cautions breed cautions. We're seeing that here as we approach 100 laps to go.
Yeah, that's going to be the major question mark is, does the trend keep on going? That was involving some of the drivers who elected to stay out, and now the tire wear could be coming in big time for some of these drivers. We're not even at 100 laps to go quite yet, and the top 11 are yet to pit, mind you, in this race.
All right, so we'll settle in here for the restart. It'll be around lap number 30. Whenever, well, actually lap 29, whenever we work lap 30 for the green flag restart. Cole Raz, Devin West, right alongside each other as we settle in here for the green flag to fly. I'll tell you what, Justin, still too early in this race. I can't really pinpoint anybody that's got any strong opportunities to win. Obviously, you look at Cole Raz, he's been off a few weeks. He's come back after real racing endeavors. And then Caden Anderson, winner of course, the other night on the series, now struggling here from Pocono to New Hampshire. And all the while, as we go back to green, man, he is right now the strong number 10, Cole Rass, one of the super friends, as you like to call him, bringing back the green flagger as we get ready to put 30 on the board.
Down the back straightaway, the top two single and filing out. Chris White holds off the battle for fourth position. Huff finds rides the high side inside. Lake Peterson clears on by off turn 4.
Past the start-finish line, they'll go back into the corner into 1 and 2 again. All this going on here with Mr. Cole Raz out in front. There you see everyone behind him, like West, Peterson, White, Huffines, all this shuffling for position. And look out behind you on the top right. Caden Anderson is somehow found a way to try to get back into this battle, into the top 10 out of turn 3, as now Bloom and Huffines battle off the corner out of 4.
Bloom and Huffines still keeping it up. West has also taken a couple peeks for that race lead. Off to turn 1, they rumble this time. The top 6 separated by 1.3 seconds as they rumble to the back straightaway. Keep an eye on that lead, though. West has tried to poke around Cole Raz a couple times, tries to back it up this time to set things up again.
Yeah, my apologies, Justin. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you're exactly right. He's trying to really set him up and trying to get that opportunity to try to make that crossover, to get that position. All this going on again as they cross the start-finish line and send it back to turn 1.
Back through turns 1 and 2. West trying to arc it down, still trying to find a way to pop the bubble. West gets the chance. Raz checks up down the straightaway. Here comes Devin West to the inside, trying to ride against the edge of the first seam. Back up across the second seam, near bumper to bumper, near door to door off the exit.
Yeah, this is going on for the lead, mind you, as they work their way past the start-finish line. Another lap on the board here with West, Raz, side by side. Chris White back in that battle again as they work off turn 2.
Clearing on by down the back straightaway, Devin West for the race lead. Chris White now waits in the popcorn seat as Raz tries to gather it back up. Chris White dives to the inside, trying to get to Raz. Can't get there.
Nope, can't get there as they work out of turn number 4. You see White's car drifting up on the outside, now back to the inside. He now closes his on Cole Raz. Peterson is after him. Bloom is after Peterson. That conga line of 5 cars work their way out of turn number 2.
Making a conga line of 3 cars. Lake Peterson all over the place off of turn 2, checks things up. Chris White looks to dive things up into turn 3. To the inside of Raz. To the apex as Raz gets the run to clear back single file as the Hornet's Nest builds up with the fresh tires of Brightsman.
Yeah, there's a storm brewing, and we're going to keep an eye on that all the while. Everything continues back into the corner. Look at Sean Brightsman. And you know, Sean trying to redeem himself after having a pretty solid run in Pocono last week. Struggled in the truck race. Of course, Caden Anderson picking up the win, but all the while, here's New Hampshire. Here's an opportunity to really try to make things work for the driver of car number 46, and he moves by Peterson. Move him now to 4th out of turn number 4.
And a good chance in turn for Brightsman to close up trouble. Anderson with trouble down the front straightaway. Caution is out as Anderson stops in the middle of the racetrack. And the 37 again having troubles. Remember, he had problems during one of the caution flags. This ends up having him loop around the front straightaway at the flank stand as he tried to save it at least 5 different times.
Caution flag is out for the 3rd time here at New Hampshire, and this is involving Caden Anderson. Let's go back to Justin Prince to explain what happened here to put us under the yellow flag on the front straightaway.
There was a checkup with Lake Peterson nearly up into the wall. When that happened, Anderson tried to cut to the left. That snapped him loose, and in turn went back and forth trying to correct the car. When he realized that it was either go up into the traffic or lock it down, he locked it down. And in turn, waits for the entire field to pass by. Anderson has now dropped back to 23rd with another mistake here at this racetrack tonight for him.
Oh, but would you say he is very, very lucky, though, Justin, to not get hit by any of those cars. None of that oncoming traffic coming after him. Did he ever get caught up in it? And that's a big guess. Here we go. Obviously, Brightsman does not pit. Everyone else comes in, including West, Raz, White, all of them coming in as they're just shy of over 100 laps to go here at the Magic Mile, and they are making their way, JP, to their pit stalls here for the first time.
And majority of the field taking their first sets. That's the gamble some of those drivers who pit last caution had to try and take to get track position. Huffines has to crawl forward, has an issue getting into the box. Just now getting on the left side, Jacks. Devin West completing the right side all the way around for the left side already. Devin West comes out first off the race. Cole Raz, Lake Peterson, Chris White, Ryan Bloom, Dylan Huffines. The race off the lane, followed by Stabnell and Reynolds.
Yeah, can you say the race off pit road? What a job it was for sure. As again, it is Cole Raz, so right behind Devin West. Devin West had a pretty stellar pit stop, and of course, there you see the WCS, LSRTV CRN Chevrolet number 5. Of course, some drivers did not pit. That includes the...
You're in trouble with just one set to go the rest of the way for 100 laps. That's not going to work.
But I'm wondering here, you know, Justin, do you think that maybe they feel, hey, we've had 3 caution flags. They've been very, very in sequence with one another. I think we're going to see more yellow flags.
I think we're going to see a bit more on the yellow flags, absolutely. But at the same time, it's about the tire set management.
Gotcha.
The strategy was hoping that we get a green flag run. It was working well for Brightsman before the yellow flag with all the track position. Keep in mind, as well as Anderson before he spun out. But now it's not so easy. Now they're on the back foot of the strategy, where if you do get the caution in that same range, you see what happened and hear what happened.
Yep. And all the while, we get ready to settle them here for the restart. And as we just mentioned, it will be, of course, 100 laps to go when the green flag flies here, of course, at the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. Northwest Racing Series, the Cup Cars, round 18. Couple of more races, 3 or 4 weeks remain until a run to the round of 12 of the playoffs to decide a champion. Green flag goes back in the air. My goodness, Johnson all over the air on Devin West.
Trouble.
Johnson turns head nose into the safer wall barrier on the out inside retaining wall. Devin West collected. Kevin Smith off the pace. Ron Hunter collected, I believe. Yellow flag coming out. This might be just what the doctor ordered, Justin, for guys like Brightsman, Cooper, and Anderson, as the yellow is out again for the 4th time.
I almost wonder if it was an issue with Brett Johnson to the gears, because
he didn't go. He seemed like he didn't fire.
Because
you need to keep an eye on the 7 of Johnson and the 5 of West, because that's where it all came unglued. And then Kevin Smith and others just had nowhere to go and got caught up in it. Okay, he just got on the binders. He didn't get hit, so that's good.
Yeah, I think the best way to look at this and hear this is going to be with the 7 of Brett Johnson. 4th place, remember, stayed out during the caution flag. He absolutely had major issues to the gears here, because he ends up starting things off, revs up way too early on the gears by at least 2,000 RPMs per shift.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The band is about 9,000 RPMs. He went up at 8,000 at 7,500, then breaks early, gets into Devin West, who West was behind him, mind you. Rather, West gets into him, trying to get into the braking zone, not expecting to check up. It was a whole messy situation with, it almost felt like a sense of trying to be so cautious that it was too cautious.
Well, all the while, the caution is out again here at New Hampshire. And you're Sean Brightsman, you're Aaron Coop. Obviously, when the pit lane opens, Justin, you've got to come in. You know you're going to come in now. You have to.
I don't necessarily say come in now, but I say 20 laps from now. That's the major hope right now, Wesley, is you get a caution around halfway. Likely everyone comes in knowing that's going to be towards the mark to make it to the rest of the way on gas. And then it gets interesting for there on the strategy for tires. So none of those drivers peeling in with the quickie caution except for Johnson. But it's now the matter for Cole Raz, Lake Peterson, Devin West. Can you get by cleanly? Can you make sure there's no damage picked up or more damage picked up in the case of some possibly here to make sure you can make that progression through the pack here? Knowing these drivers are going to be on old tires, knowing that some of them might be tiptoeing right through the Geico restart zone with the tire spin.
Sean Brightsman, strategy behold or not, we know, let's be honest here, we know, Justin, what type of strategy, crazy scenarios that Mr. Sean Brightsman has done in the past, and we know that he can do it any time. He's done it before. You never know what Sean Brightsman will pull up his sleeve. I mean, we've seen him play fuel strategies. We've seen him, stay out and find a way to literally stretch fuel and win the race. So many scenarios, be caught up in accidents, come back, rally back. And let's be honest here, as we got the one to go, the restart coming up next time by. It's been kind of not, I'm saying a bad year for Sean Brightsman, but it's been a quiet year. He ain't set the world on fire this 2022 season, Justin, as we've seen in the past. And of course, Sean Brightsman, the all-time winner of the series as well in that 46 Toyota.
Yeah, Brightsman, we've seen throughout the campaign, have some really good speed. It's just been a matter of trying to execute fully when it comes to this season.
Sure.
Strategy is always something. We've seen Brightsman with the 2 tire calls and everything. But the major thing keep in mind is just the 1 victory on the season for Brightsman. Coming into tonight's 6th. Yes.
That's it. And if you want to get into the playoffs, you've got to show everything you've got now. It's down to this crunch time. Green flag back in the air here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway as we're under 100 laps to go, closing in on 90 remaining. Brightsman, Cooper, Anderson, Raz, and Paulison, your top 5. And they're going to try to stick it 3 wide behind the top 4 at the back straightaway. They're not done yet going to turn 3.
Battle was on with Anderson, diving into the inside, clearing on by easily on Cooper. Now here comes Cole Raz for 3rd spot inside on the Freshies. Cooper nearly loops it.
All this happening as they work their way back around the racetrack. Here they
big
go.
one.
Got caution out again.
It's another big one, and it involves some of your championship contenders and race contenders. Chris White gets sandwiched into a big wreck with Brian Reynolds, Jeff Stabnow, and several more who slammed the outside wall down the front straightaway. And we're back under caution after pure calamity for the battle for the top 10, all sparking from one car, snapping loose in the 12 of Reynolds.
Can I just say, Justin, that you could tell that was going to happen? I mean, it just, wow.
Taking a look at the replay viewpoint with Tidrick, who drives right into the back end of it. But again, the trigger was Reynolds in the 12 car. Because it's so easy with everyone packed up where you're pushing so hard. One snap on the gas, one bobble on through the gas, and you just end up snapping it around. And that seemed to be the case when it comes to Reynolds trying to keep it off of Paulison in this case. The run through turn 4 specifically is the best way to put it. Was already on a bad line, coming off to the apex, slides up, nearly gets into Chris White, and then just overcorrects right into Chris White. Stabnow right there, Barnes right there, Casey Garber right there, and a couple others, and Chris White amongst those having significant repairs already from this caution.
Hard break here at the Magic Mile. Several cars involved, including the defending series champion of Chris White, Brian Reynolds, and others here on lap number 50 when they come to the start-finish line this time by. It looks like maybe Sean Brightsman, well, actually, I'm sorry, that was off turn 2. I was thinking maybe Brightsman was thinking of peeling onto the pit lane, but there you see Troy Daggett getting back one of his many laps of being down in the early going of this race. The 99, obviously changing his car, his wrap job. Now 19 laps down, 18 laps whenever they get back to timing and scoring, as he did take the wave around. And let's remind people of that, Justin. The wave around is as long as you don't come to the pits and as long as you make laps around the racetrack, you can pass that pace car and try to get back as many laps as you can. Obviously, with him being close to 20 laps down, that's only maybe 1 or 2 times he can try to get a lap back under caution. But if we start having another crazy sequence of yellow flags, this might put Daggett in the catbird seat to try to get back at least 5 laps down. Maybe try to get back on the lead lap if we have many more cautions. By the way, this is number 5, and we didn't play over-under either.
Yeah, and mind you, was expecting this to be a bit more tamer, and then the tameness just seemed to just go away for everybody lately. Here's the tough thing for Chris White and his season, for how things have played out here tonight. Chris White just now jumped back in the car 2 laps down. With mandatory repairs, it looks like he may not have had the fast repair to use, or at the very least did not use it during this caution. So now, even then, Daggett, if Chris White gets back on the racetrack here, will not get in a position to be the lucky dog unless a bunch of drivers stay coming in pit and he ends up being the only one staying out. Chris White is back on the track 2 laps down.
I've noticed something, Justin. Obviously, we have mentioned Chris White, but I think of Caden Anderson, and obviously the points leader coming into this race tonight. He struggles the last couple of weeks. He has struggled in the Cup car. The trucks he excels in, but it seems like, you know, something's just don't go right for the driver, the 37, and now he is got himself right there in an opportunity to be right there alongside Sean Brightsman when we get ready to wave the green here at New Hampshire.
And even tonight, it's been a bit of a nightmare for Anderson. Technical issues under the caution. At least 1 spin during this race. Nearly spinning twice. A spin in qualifying. Anderson just seems to be just looking for something, and I raced with an official action before tonight. He was involved in at least 3 big ones at Pocono to end off the C-Fix day, so he needs some positivity today.
Certainly does, as the field will get ready to come back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's Sean Brightsman down to the inside. He's going to have Caden Anderson right behind him. 1 and 2, Cole Raz the 3rd. Through single file with Peterson. That goes on to the back straightaway, heading to turn number 3.
Big bobbles 3 wide in the midst of the Hornets' nest, but the top 4 is to keep an eye on. Anderson looking for the lead underneath Brightsman. Brightsman slides to the 3rd line, right in the 2nd line. Anderson off of turn 4.
A wiggle there by Brightsman's car as they worked off of 4. Anderson a power back to the inside. All the while, Super Friends has come to save the day. It's the Anderson, it's the Raz show coming after Brightsman. That goes on at a turn 2.
Brightsman nearly spins it off of 2. Has to save it as Lake Peterson zips by for 3rd. Brightsman dropping back like a rolling stone to the edges of the top 5. Ryan Bloom going for 4th. Cole Raz going for the lead off of 4.
All of this happening as they work their way back across the start-finish line. Caden Anderson is the man that is out in front. Raz is in 2nd. Peterson in 3rd. All this happening as they now work off turn 2. Battle behind them is fierce behind the top 5. They go single file now, going to 3.
Loom of Note has passed by Brightsman, but a tough line's trying to hold off Cooper on the outside. He zips around, Cooper does. Hold off Jeff Stab now, who rides 2nd line. Back into a rhythm, 85 laps to go. Several drivers looking snap loose already a couple laps into this run.
And all of this happening now as they work off of the corner out of turn 2. Back to the back straightaway. It's Anderson, it's Raz. Car starting to bonsai a little bit. It's Jeff Stab now, down to the inside, battling Cooper. This is for 8th and 9th. That goes on. Is also Brightsman and West now battle for 5th and 6th. Lowther and Cooper going at it. There's battles everywhere at the Magic Ball out of 4.
Out for the race lead.
As that goes on into turn number 1 there, Justin.
Cole Raz on 18 lap newer tires, tries to run around the outside. Inside Anderson. Drag race to the back straight away. Dead even through the gears. This time to the braking zone. Deeper in for Raz. Raz around the 3rd seam. Nearly clears, does clear off of 4 as Lake Peterson joins the fun.
Put him in there as he licks the stamp, as our colleague Justin says sometimes. Sends it down into turn number 1. Now Raz under attack by his teammate. It is Anderson to the inside. Peterson, that's all teammates right there. And they're the contenders of the Big Three this year for the Northwest. They battle for the lead. 3 cars in the 3.
Hard charge for Raz up to the edges of the 4th seam, trying to hold on. Anderson not backing down inside. Here comes Lake Peterson to try and give a push.
A push down the straightaway with Anderson down to the inside, half a car length. He's right there into the driver door as they work their way into turn number 1 and 2. Peterson will now hook up with Raz, leave Anderson hung out to dry. Ryan Bloom can't close in on the gap. He'll go to the outside with West. They go to 3 side by side.
One of the best races of the early parts of this race. Anderson, despite older tires, continues it up behind them. Lots of tempers building up in the midst of this hornet's nest of drivers. We stay green, but the battle for the race lead is still side by side with 3 cars.
It's magical here at the Magic Mile. Get that analogy going on. As right now, look at Raz up on the outside. Inside Anderson. Peterson will follow. Bloom and Devin West, all those cars. 5, any can win. Something's got to give as they go to turn number 3 on lap number 60 here.
Will that give come up here? Big lift for Raz out the exit. Anderson able to burp the throttle quicker. Down the front straightaway that time by Anderson, getting the edge by 1,000th of a second. Peterson saying it's time to go to the outside and try and make it near 3 wide. Doesn't get there for 2.
It's time to go, and you better go now, as he says. Anderson down at the bottom. Raz will follow up to the safer wall barrier. Here comes Peterson. He'll give some help on the outside lane for Raz. The wrenched in, trying to battle off of Anderson, his teammate. They go at it side by side again, coming out of turn number 4. Peterson lifts, he bobs, he gets sideways, he goes to the outside. Raz will clear into the lead, back to turn 1. They're battling door to door for second.
Peterson drifts all the way up nearly to the safer barrier, trying to get the run. Draws back behind Anderson. Anderson drifts 4 tires across the back straightaway. Peterson back inside of Anderson. Anderson tries to pinch Peterson. The Super Friends all brawling with one another off of turn 4. Anderson another bobble. Peterson drives by.
Super Friends going at it now, along with Lake Peterson in that battle. Here comes now Ryan Bloom, the 2021 ARCA Northwest champion. He wants to stick his nose in the gunfight. Devin West had some problems earlier. He's rallied back to 5 and 5, and they go to 3.
Bloom showing the nose on Anderson. Anderson doesn't see the nose, nearly gets into the nose. Bloom drives around the edges of the first seam, around the dotted marks. Anderson squeezes back though for the Geico restart zone space.
And all of this happening now as they work their way back across the start-finish line. Again, it is Raz going after him now. Here comes now also Bloom. Bloom coming after Anderson. You got to wonder, Justin, did Caden Anderson use up some of his tires now? And he's kind of falling back as now Bloom and West are trying to run him down for that spot as they work out of turn 4.
Remember, older tires on Anderson by about 18 laps compared to most of the drivers around him. And that tire wear is starting to really showcase its major differences throughout this run. Anderson has been doing a stellar job, though, to be able to defend for this long on much older tires compared to his competitors. Bloom builds up the run, now down the back straightaway, showing nose yet again. Will Bloom get there? No, and this time Bloom electing to back up the corner entry as the caution is out to the back straightaway. It is Ron Hunter in the 22.
For the 22 of Ron Hunter. Yellow flag for the 6th time right before halfway. Let's go back to Justin Prince.
It was in the battle with Stephen Paulson right nearly halfway. It by about 10 laps. But it's Hunter who is trying to get around for 16th position. And here's the tough thing when it comes to Hunter. Send a little too deep, and it's similar to what Anderson did, where he was trying to launch it around the corner, trying to wrap it around to below that first seam, and it just spins him out.
Yeah, just lost it right there where the blend cone is coming off of turn number 1 and 2 here at the Magic Mile at New Hampshire. And There you see the end result for Ron Hunter, and the caution coming out here just before halfway. Yes, this is 140 laps, 140 miles. Lap 70 will be halfway, and there was a little shake, rattle, and roll, and fake and psychic on some of these drivers coming to the pits there, Justin.
As to be expected, though, Anderson and Brinksman amongst those coming on in, so they elect to slice this race up the middle. It's an intriguing play for the rest of the field as those drivers of Raz, Peterson, Loom, Devin West, Huffines, Lauder, Stabnow, Reynolds, Kamari, Harris, Kim, Tidrick, Burke, and Malik all are in those situations where they wouldn't be able to make it on fuel. They may be banking on more cautions for the track position.
Interesting as Raz, KBD entry, number 10, Chevrolet, trying to hold off, of course, Super Friends. Caden Anderson falling back. Lake Peterson right behind him now for second, and all the while, you know Caden Anderson, believe he pitted. Some others have pitted. He falls back. Casey Garber's in. Brian Barnes is in. Ron Hunter is in, who brought out the caution. Obviously, Chris White in. Several laps down right now. 2 laps down. Aaron Cooper. I think Aaron Cooper will get the wave around here and go back on the lead lap on the number 71. And all the while, we'll settle them in here, or at least the free pass as right now. Caution coming out here. What is this, 6? Let's look at our closing in on halfway. First half stats of the race summary. Bottom left of the monitor here. And yeah, New Hampshire, 6 cautions so far. 23 caution laps. How about this though, Justin? 9 lead changes among 7 drivers here in this race so far.
Yeah, it's been the type of race where there hasn't been one major dominating factor yet. Where we mentioned the potential of comers and goers. Long run was the thought at first. Short run, it seems, has been the bigger play, though, because some of the drivers are struggling to be able to properly exit the corner in the clean air. Some drivers, if anything here, Wesley, look more comfortable in the midst of some of the traffic when they're lined up bumper to bumper compared to having that fresh air on the nose with the rotation off.
Raz and Peterson will be right alongside each other when they come back to the Geico restart zone and take the restart here on lap number 69. Couple of laps to halfway. First half of this race, Justin, what do you think we're going to see in part 2 coming up as well?
Well, I predicted calmness for this race. We did not get calmness, so the prediction is the opposite of calmness, maybe?
Calamity, chaos, destruction, mayhem. Any other analogy you can think of? We're ready to go at it again here. So glad you're along for the ride. I'm Wesley Outland in Goldsboro tonight on the road. CRN got coverage of the 3rd annual WJG Sports Basketball Classic tomorrow. Coverage beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Green flag goes back in the air, and we are ready to go here. As, of course, Justin Prince in Canada, Charles running the button, so we're ready for the second half of this race. They're going to come to the cross sticks. This time by it's Raz, Peterson, Bloom, West, Huffines, battles Devin West. Bloom battles Peterson. That all goes on as they go into turn number 3 and the cross flags. Jeff Stabnow closing in with Kamari. Harris, your top 10 here at the Magic Mile.
Some Bumbles coming around as they're at the halfway mark, this time by Indeed. Into turn 1, Dylan Huffines in 5th, trying to hold off Dan Lauder, who's recovering from being involved in trouble. Trouble in front. Devin West nearly spins it in front. West spins it nearly again. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Brian Reynolds takes the 5 to the bottom. Outside Jeff Stabnow. West backs it out as they all pass by West with no issue.
Raz, Peterson, Bloom, Huffines, and look at Stabnow behind Devin West. 3 wide. Chris Kamari in the middle. This goes on. And they go down, and Anderson trying to close back in. Tidrick down, first time we mentioned him, trying to climb into the dirt. He does, and they work off of turn number 2.
Tidrick with damage, mind you, just trying to fall on behind, but Anderson on the fresh tires, trying to utilize the second line to be able to make some moves. Rounding it around the bottom, Devin West plays defense. West in turn nearly bobbles it in Anderson.
Anderson West side by side. Frank Harris had some problems earlier, now cracking back into the top 10 in his machine. Back across the start-finish line this time by. It'll be closing in on 75 laps as it is all Raz the leader. There goes Anderson. West behind him. All this happening as they work out of turn number 4. Little contact stab now almost got to Anderson. He about had to play checkup behind Briar Reynolds, Lowther, and others. All this heated up into turn number 1 there, Justin.
Devin West with some damage to the sides of the race car, trying to utilize the bottom of the racetrack. Battling it out with Stabnow. Stabnow with back bumper damage and spoiler damage. Watches along, gets it hard to the corner. West better on the braking though. Zips around the second line, clears by Stabnow for 8th. Oh, in trouble, front straightaway.
Oh, no.
Ryan Bloom spins it down the front stretch. Jeff Stabnow bobbles it around. Nearly gets into the wall as the rest of the pack dodges Ryan Bloom.
And what a save for the Billings, Montana native of the 24. However, the Boise State Broncos fan of the 2021 ARCA Northwest champion did not get so lucky. Yellow flag out for the 7th time on lap number 75. Justin, you've got what went down here on turn 4.
Bloom was right in the conversation for the lead with Lake Peterson. But off of turn 4, Peterson gets loose. He bounces off the left rear tire of Peterson, spins it up the track. Lowther nearly slams into him. Stabnow has to correct a couple times, and Bloom stays tucked up against the wall as the rest of the field passes.
And the yellow flag coming out here for now. The 7th time. You want to talk about a all shook up, hold on moment. Watch this 24 on board with the native of Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana. And my goodness, Justin, he was just mere inches from losing control of that car. Let's take a listen. Devin West, teammate to his inside, and all of a sudden, everybody is on the binders. Look at this, just smoke. Whoa! Whoa!
Wow.
Saves it. Holy cow.
I don't think he knew that Huffines was having an issue up the track, obviously. He was focused on the battle with Devin West. The others had gotten the chance to see it moments earlier. Stabnow very lucky to not destroy the 24 machine with already a lot of damage to the rear end as it is.
And all the while, we will now settle in. Obviously, I don't think anybody in the front right now is going to come to the pits. We've all got Carl Burke is in. Brett Johnson involved in a caution earlier. He is in. Chris White, Troy Daggett, obviously cars in the back are in. By the way, the first announcement has been made for, I'm excited to unveil, for the No Excuses Sim Series, the return of the No Excuses Sim Series. So it'll go full launch in 2023. However, there is going to be a couple of special races throughout the rest of the 2022 season. And the decision's been made, instead of having 3 or 4 different touring series, they are going to have big races, 100%. And how about this, right out of the gate, Justin Prince, the historic Myrtle Beach 400, the 250-lap late model stock car race. I kind of hinted on it earlier that maybe we could go back to what the true Myrtle Beach 400 used to be with the all-pro cars when they used to run a 400-lap race. But with the late models, 250 laps, that is going to be exciting. The No Excuses Sim Series, get on board, full 100% races, exciting fun. No excuses that you can't join us. I'm sure Justin and myself and many others will be on the broadcast call. iRacing on LSRTV. Maybe we might put some of these big races on CRN as well. That is the No Excuses Sim Series. We're on board with Jeff Stabnow real quickly. Jeff, what a save you made. Real quickly, before you go back to green, my goodness, you did a phenomenal job here. So I believe we're going to try to grab a word with Jeff Stabnow next time. So if we get a caution next time, we'll grab a word with Jeff Stabnow, because I got a feeling, Justin, these cautions aren't done.
Yeah, the caution's likely not done, to say the very least, especially with how the tire strategies are playing out, the attrition's playing out. This could get wild yet again, though. Raz on old tires with Dan Lowder on the front row. Newer tires and Caden Anderson quickly carving through the pack. The freshest tires are back in 13th for the restart.
Field to come back to the Geico restart zone, and it is time to send it off. There's 62 laps remaining. Green flag back in the air. Cole Raz takes off like he's running away from just a hornet's nest after him. Lowther up the outside. Anderson to the inside. Reynolds, Brightsman slams the wall, upper right of the screen. He gets collected. More cars are involved. I think Jeff Stabnow just got caught up in it. Many cars involved in an accident to the back straightaway. Teammates Sean Brightsman, Jeff Stabnow, nowhere to go. Caution out here on lap 78.
And both of them are stuck in the grass. Both of them are trying to get going against the Armco barrier. Brightsman just now is getting going. Stabnow trying to reverse. Brightsman getting loose, as you'll see with the replay and as you'll hear the description of on CRN. My goodness, Brightsman just snapped loose right. Stabnow the first one to the scene right there. Toby Ritters helps Brightsman to the inside.
Ritters might have got some contact and some damage. Tendrick, I think, might have been also got involved with a piece of it. But all the while, the worst for wear is these two cars, these teammates for the LSRTV CRN team of Sean Brightsman and Jeff Stabnow. And I think for a while, Jeff Stabnow was trying to get Brightsman off the Armco barrier to try to give him a push to get back going. And I think also Jeff finally said, you know what, I got to take care of myself here. This is heartbreaking for these two cars. Wow.
Well, first, Stabnow's had to take the tow. Brightsman is still in the grass right now, is trying to, and has blown the motor. Brightsman just grenaded the motor, trying to get the car out of the grass.
So obviously now he will come to the pits. He'll take the tow and he'll take a fast repair.
Tow, and a lengthy tow with that as well.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna try, I believe, to grab Jeff Stabnow and get him in the booth here, and we'll try to grab Jeff Stabnow. Jeff, it's broadcast. You got a copy?
Sure.
Jeff, what in the world, man? I mean, what made there? And then, oh my, maybe I jinxed you because I was getting ready to interview and I didn't, and then you still wrecked. But what happened between you and Brightsman and they get stuck in the grass? And by the way, your teammate blew his motor, by the way.
Yeah, it blew mine too. So I'm towing to the pits and probably going to go down 3 or 4 laps here. Yeah, no, I was an incredible save. I was I meant to pit on that one anyways, but I was still calming down after that save and missed the pit. If I'd have got in, maybe I wouldn't get caught on that. Sean just got a little loose. You know, if you get to the throttle wrong or a little quick, they're coming off these corners, it'll just, the rear end gets away from you, and that just happened. I was just in the wrong space, wrong time. We both got stuck in a wall and had to tow.
Do you not have a fast repair, or has it already been used up?
I have a fast repair. I hadn't done any damage repair, so. But the problem is I'll probably be 3 or 4 laps down here.
Oh, wow. And that's what's frustrating. I mean, obviously, Justin, if you got a question for Jeff, you could segue into this. I mean, I would think that if you have the opportunity to use the fast repair, I would take it to try to get back on the racetrack. But if you have to use a tow, you got to suffer the penalty or the damage clock. Am I correct, basically, Justin?
Well, with the tow, it's another few minutes. In fact, Stabnow just finished his fast repair for after 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Real quickly, as you wait for the rest of the pack here to zip on by with the 1 to go signal, what's the game plan the rest of the way to get back going here, since you and Chris White, along with Brightsman, are laps down, the only drivers laps down running outside of Troy Daggett, 19 down?
Yeah, you guys are going to have to get the lucky dog. I think tire strategy and fuel strategy has been split on every pit stop, so wave arounds don't look good. I think I'm 3 laps down. So Chris gets waved around ahead of me, and then I'll be fighting Brightsman for the wave arounds for the 3 lap down guys, it looks like.
Well, buddy, the pace car is pulling off. We'll let you go, Jeff. Keep your head up, man. Hopefully some things fall in your favor. That's Jeff Stabnow, and the field is ready to come back to the restart. Green flag in the air. And Super Friends right there, 1 and 2. Briar Reynolds, Justin, now up to third. Dan Lowther, fourth. All this going on the restart on lap 83.
Anderson with the freshest tires out of that grouping, though, coming off a 2. Already going for the race lead to the corner panel of Raz, trying to get the side draft. Raz gives plenty of space. Anderson tries to ride the edges of the first seam. Through the second line, Raz bobbles around the second seam as Anderson's got the grip.
Front straightaway, door to door, side by side as they work their way back to turn number 1. Raz up the outside, half a car length, driver left. Raz has Anderson there. They both drift up the speedway, a couple of different lanes, and now they give each other room. Raz had to get on the binders. I thought he was going to eat the safer wall barrier there off the back straightaway. They hold it off. They go to 3 of their single file. Big battle, the Hornets' nest of traffic going on behind them in the top 10. And it looks like Lincoln Blinken nod for Devin West as Kamari and Huffines battle off 4.
Kamari just about spun it down, but more spins down the front. Caution flag is out. And it's Tyler Kim, who was in the top 10 prior to the caution, who loops it around after bouncing off the side of Frank Harris. So the 30 car brings us under yellow.
And can I be frank here, Justin? You knew that was going to happen. Look at how gaggled up this traffic was here. I mean, remember I mentioned there was a storm brewing, there was a hornet's nest right behind the leaders. And here's the end result right of this. Look at this. Right behind Devin West also.
Yeah,
Frank Harris, oh man.
And what did Jeff Stabenow just say about getting to the gas, get it into the wrong way? You just snap around. Tyler Kim snapped around right into the side of Harris. A couple others did pick up contact, but Tyler Kim, his second big incident, under caution as everyone else tries to catch up to the rest of the pack.
You've heard of that scenario, cautions breed cautions, right? What are we at, 8 now? 9 cautions? I'm glad, Justin, we didn't play over under.
Oh my goodness. I, again, was not expecting so much. By the way, pit stops. Anderson staying out here with the tire set strategy roulette. Cole Raz coming in.
Money stop, you think?
At this point, it depends. I don't even think you can even call that yet.
I know, I was going to say, well, you know, maybe. Yeah. What are you, De Niro? No, I don't think it's going to. I think we're still going to see some more cautions for sure. Oh, wow. And so, all this happening. Cars coming out of the pit lane, lap 87 of 140. And here you see some of the cars in view. Briar Reynolds. Oh, man, Briar Reynolds coming to the pits. He was in the top 3 earlier. Raz exits. Lowther. Cars in the top 5, I think, just made the pit. I think they're ready to go to the house at the finish of this race, Justin. I think they just committed to go to the end here. I think they did.
I think Lowther absolutely may be in that range or close to it at the very least. With the tire set situation, Briar Reynolds down to 1 set, Cole Raz down to 1 set, BJ Tidrick up in the air. Casey Garber's coming 6 times, so that could be up in the air. I think in the case of Anderson, Smith, Peterson and company, though, their bed was made coming into this caution. They had 1 set available in the lane. You get a caution with 30 to go, that's where you use it, and that might become the race-winning move for some of the drivers. For others like Peterson, Huffines and company, they're also in the same bed right now in terms of how the strategy is playing out.
Man, oh man. Well, Justin, I will say this. This race has been very entertaining tonight at the Magic Mile, no doubt.
It's been a wild race. It's been an entertaining race. It's been an attrition-filled race. It's been a moment-filled race. I can't remember the last time 2 drivers ended up getting themselves stuck in the grass, and one of them was in part trying to help the other one getting out of the grass and getting themselves stuck in the grass and blowing each other's motors. By the way, did we mention that there's a time limit in this series from 2 hours? The cautions continue. That might become a cause for concern.
And that's what happened, 3 times now this year in the series, if that happens? I mean, seriously.
It's still a ways out. but put it this way, you get some green flag laps that comes out of the risk assessment. You get caution, precaution, precaution, and it becomes a realistic sign if you get another 3 cautions in the next, say, 10 laps from now.
And we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see what transpires for sure. Lights are off on the pace car. We'll get ready to settle in for the restart here. Lap number 90, 50 laps to go. Your old-fashioned Saturday night, Friday night short track across America here at the Magic Mile now on the virtual sim for the Northwest Racing Series. And the Cup cars, a 50-lap shootout here. And I don't think they're done wrecking. I don't think we're done with cautions. I wouldn't even be surprised if we don't go to overtime unless the time expires. We're ready now. Green flag, restart zone, Geico restart zone, green flag, and Anderson is gone. Anderson, Walla Walla, Washington's Kevin Smith, who had problems earlier in the race, now battling back to second. Not for long. Anderson now clears him. Anderson will take Peterson with him. Huffines will follow. They work off 2.
Down into turn 3, Huffines deep on the entry. Smith trying to keep it up on the 3rd line. 2nd line still for Huffines. Huffines nearly gets contact with Smith. Huffines clears for 3rd.
There is 53 minutes left to go in sim time. 48 laps to go now when the field comes to the start-finish line here at New Hampshire. It is Anderson now leading them down the back straightaway. Peterson slams the wall, bonsais into the concrete. He comes back, he slides. Huffines can't clear him. Whatever happened to Peterson, he saved it. He holds on to second, but he has bunched up the field of traffic behind him out of 4.
Peterson able to gather it back up for the front straightaway, though. Huffines under attack by Devin West. West shows the nose into turn 1. It's a bit of the first seam. Strips his way all the way to the corner panel with a 20. Off of turn 2 as the 20 guts a bomb and Huffines.
All this happens now as they work their way side by side to the back straightaway in to turn number 3.
Trouble back
West
straightaway.
Inside, trouble back stretch. You got it, Justin. What happened?
It's Carl Burke this time who goes around 13th spot. And another caution.
Wow.
As Burke on 16.5 lap old tires loops it from the bottom up to the top and into the wall.
You see 3 wide in front of him. Something had to give. The gold and black car alongside Paulison. And the caution is out now. Look at this. Reynolds got into brass. Look at this. Maybe a chain reaction, Justin?
No, it's more so, again,
he lost it.
too low, lost it. Big dodge.
Wow. Is that Stab now?
Yes, it was.
Jeff Stab now just got. We got to go on board with the 24. Jeff Stab now. By the way, Justin, do you know what rap job he is paying tribute to for Carl Burke? Do you know that rap job?
I believe you may know the answer. Is that correct?
Oh, I know the answer. Do you know it?
I'm not 100% sure of the answer.
Smoky
I know.
Unit. Smoky Unit.
That was the first guess with the Smokies logos on the car. Yes.
Yeah, Smoky Unit. One of the greatest people of NASCAR that NASCAR will never hardly acknowledge, or will never see him go to the Hall of Fame. But look at Stab now. Oh my God. Wow. Talk about an old moment.
You know who wasn't lucky, though, in that incident? The next car back, Chris White, if we can get a chance to look at the what could have been.
Oh, wow. On board.
This is now mandatory repairs, a broken tire. He was one of the drivers lined up on the outside on corner exits, and the W car.
On board Chris White.
I think the turn 2 exit was just the worst timing for Chris White on that slide up. One car getting loose, committed to the top, and the car that got loose slammed him into the wall.
Wow. So, did Stab now get some damage?
Stab now did not get damage, but remember, is 2 laps down.
Right. So, obviously, if you're smart, would you take the wave around and obviously go back to get 1 lap back if you're at 24?
Well, here's the tough thing. He needs every single lead lap car in front of him to pit, and the problem is it's so different. The strategy's that I don't think that's the case. Here's the tough balancing act, too. Is while he is 2 laps down, he'll have to try to race Ron Hunter for that.
Yep,
because
right.
Hunter did pick up a black flag just after the restart.
Yeah, so Ron Hunter will be the guy that would actually get the opportunity to get to the free pass, or the opportunity to get one of his laps back, unless he's part of a penalty. So 2 cars now in the lead lap. Ron Hunter in the 22 in front of Jeff Stab now, as Justin just mentioned. Hey, Justin! You know, our colleague and friend Greg Rentz is coming back to the Northwest Racing Series broadcast booth. What do you think?
That's great to hear when it comes to Greg. I've heard he's been very busy, Wesley, though.
He has. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, I believe it was amongst those working with the Montana, the action in Montana, in fact, if I remember right.
He was on the Montana 200 broadcast crew, was on Race in America. He did a phenomenal job. I've heard him on the Northwest Super Late Model Series this year. The real Northwest Super Late Model Series, mind you. And a whole bunch of other stuff, Wenatchee and Hermiston, all the things he's done. So I'm very, very proud. And all the while, he still continues to drive a bus for kids. And in doing so, he also supports his niece, who is racing in her endeavors in Bandoleros and Legends. So Greg Rentz back in the booth Thursday night with yours truly with the trucks at New Hampshire. That is on iRacing on LSRTV and simulcast on the Community Radio Network. Field coming back. Geico restart zone. We're closing in on 43 laps to go, and we're back to it again with Anderson. Peterson up the outside. West will follow. This going on. Justin out of turn number 2. On the pole car, Huffines will sneak his nose in the gunfight out of 4.
Single file for the top 4 for the time being. How long will that last is the question this time. Devin West backs it up in the battle for 2nd position, trying to wind it up. Peterson trying to wind up a run on Anderson off of 4, gets another bubble.
Another shot there by Devin West. He's trying to reel him in, can't catch him. And all this happening now. By the way, Father West, Dan West Jr., Justin, not here tonight in 55. It's just son Devin West out of Shelton, Washington. He's in the 3rd spot right there, 1, 2, and 3 out of 4.
Have to wonder what Dan West Jr. is going to wonder how this is played out. This has been the race of tire roulette throughout the night for those just tuning in. Coming up now, 40 to go next time around. Peterson looking to play roulette from the top, trying to see if it works up there. No.
There is 40 laps to go. Triple digits will go on the scoreboard this time by for lap 100. In addition to that, there is 46 minutes remaining in sim time. They're cutting it close. The field works out of turn number 4. It's Anderson, Peterson, West. 100 laps on the scoreboard, 40 to go. The leader's going to turn 1.
Working their way towards the corner. Peterson trying to settle on down. Lake Peterson, keep in mind, 7 victories throughout this season. The winningest driver of the season, trying to keep up with the 2nd winningest driver, tied for 2nd winningest in the points leader, Anderson off of 4.
All this happening as they work off of turn number 4. It is Anderson, Peterson, West, Huffines. They're all single file. If you're going to go, you better go now. It is white knuckle time. And all the while, Anderson holding on. Here comes now Thunder Road in the Budweiser 23. Toby Ritter's another solid run for him. He's in the top 12, but he has got a hornet's nest, snake's patch, and traffic behind him as they go into turn number 3. Barnes, Garber, Smith, Cooper, Lowther, all coming after him out of turn number 4.
Ritter's amongst those on the freshest tires in the field. Cooper tries to find a way to defend, not able to do so quite yet. Cooper bottoms out, slides up to the 4th line. Casey Garber takes advantage, driving on by. Again, the battle for 12th sees Cooper drop to 13th.
And while all this happens now, Kevin Smith will drop to the inside. Aaron Cooper up on the top. That's Ritter's. There's Garber behind him. This is for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, all happening right there at start finish. Lap number 103 goes on the board. Ritters and Garber, they go at it for position in turn number 1.
Garber really backing it up. Smith nearly to the back bumper. Smith locks it to the inside. Kevin Smith brings the caution out as Kevin Smith spins it out after getting a little argy-bargy with KC Garber in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and that caution coming out now, I believe, for the 10th time as well in our race. And here's a look at the replay. Awesome work, by the way, by Charles Wooten in the Rocket Media LSRTV iRacing production truck. And watch, we saw Barnes and Cooper going at it. And then all of a sudden, here comes now Kevin Smith and Garber and Ritters. And, well, 1 out of 3 ain't bad to get caught up in the accident. But that's a bad night for Walla Walla, Washington's Kevin Smith there, Justin.
Just seemed like the checkup may have just debalanced the car. Good lockup and good save for Smith to prevent it from sliding up or overcorrecting. But, of course, that's enough to bring us under caution. And now might become the call for the money stop for some.
I'm thinking you're exactly right. And here comes the whole cavalry coming in the lead pack. Escorting Devin West. Did not pit, though. Devin West didn't pit. Neither does Ryan Bloom or Cole Raz. Anderson is in. Huffines doesn't pit. Caden Anderson, Lake Peterson, Frank Harris, Dan Lowler, Brian Barnes. All of those cars coming down onto the pit lane. Stephen Paulison, Brett Johnson, all of them pitting. Obviously, Ron Hunter will get one of his laps back. He's now 1 lap down. Or actually, correction, Jeff Stabnow got a lap back. So actually, he gets his lap back as well. 1 lap down now for only Jeff Stabnow and Ron Hunter. And here's a plus on this, Justin. Jeff Stabnow is now in front of Ron Hunter. If a caution comes out again, which I think will happen, put Jeff Stabnow back on the lead lap of the 24.
And get Stabnow a chance in turn to potentially battle for the race.
Back in the game?
Yeah. More so on the freshest tires if he was to get the lucky dog in our time. So in our words, the goal has to be simple for the 24 Stabnow. If you see smoke, check up.
Boy, it's going to be a wild one here. Ready to settle it in. And by the way, there is 106 laps completed. 34 laps to go. 42 minutes remaining in sim time. We're also coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification for the Northwest Racing Series on the Community Radio Network.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It has been a wild one, no doubt about it. Welcome back to coverage of round 18 from the Magic Mile at New Hampshire. I'm Wesley Outland. We've got Justin Prince alongside. Charles Wooten is running the production for Rocket Media and iRacing on LSRTV and simulcast on the Community Radio Network. By the way, don't forget coverage of the 3rd round WJG Sports Basketball Classic Tournament will begin tomorrow and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time pregame show. Tip-off at 4:30. Join myself, Kim Winslow, Will Chalk for the call of that coming up in Goldsboro. You can actually check that out tomorrow and Wednesday. We're looking forward to that. And, of course, as we get ready to settle in for this restart, Justin, we're not done yet. This has been a very eventful race. Can we show the race summary so far? I think we've hit 10 caution flags. Maybe might have gone over that. 11 caution flags. 43 laps, 11 lead changes. Justin, your take of that as we hit the home stretch.
With that right now, I've been looking at the calculations between the time and the laps. It has been teeter-tottering between laps to go and time to go based on how some of these runs have played out. It's going to be close to go the full distance.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be close. Field getting ready to come back to the Geico restart zone. It is 32 laps to go. Field comes back to speed. 40 minutes to remain exactly as they go back to turn number 1. Raz and Bloom now battle for second. West of the lead out of turn number 2.
Bloom pushes up the hill, though. Drops back to 3rd. Battle is on with Huffines. Huffines to the inside of the 25. Down the back straightaway, the Sen ends up going harder for Bloom as Bloom holds on through turn 3.
All of this happening with Dan West Jr.'s son, Devin West, in the lead. We have not heard anything from Devin since on the Cup side of things. He won the Bristol Dirt Race 2 years in a row. He now is in the lead comfortably. Raz behind him. Bloom also showing his momentum, and they're getting antsy in the back behind him, going to 3. Oh, West is getting some issues there. Oh, I hope that doesn't hurt him.
Everyone all over the track in turn 3. Devin West holds on the bobble. Here comes Cole Raz with the speed. Cole Raz looking for a chance to send it into 1.
I think they're trying to be mindful of the number 5 and try to reel him back in and try to clear him and pass him quickly as West goes to the outside. Here comes Raz. Raz now got some others having some ink and blink and nod issues in the back. That bunches up the cavalry behind them. They come out of turn number 4. This time by, it is to the home stretch. And this time by, under 30 to go. They go to turn 1, and we're still side by side for the lead with West and Raz. West and Raz. Raz and West. Bloom will now go after it there. They wait patiently out of turn 2.
Down the back, Raz nearly loops it inside, holding on to it. Caution.
Spinning. Good's almost collected with Barnes. Everyone else gets on the binders to miss him. Caution out of the speedway for the 12th time out of turn number 2.
And here we go again. Garber, I think, again stepped out. Turn 2, bites another driver. He did get some help towards the second part of the spin. And the major thing is, if you wait for a blue and yellow popsicle car, he ends up giving a little bit of a punch to the front nose of KC Garber for his good troubles.
Peterson flashing, and there you see Garber and got right into Anderson, and then, yeah, Barnes. Wow.
Just stepped out again.
Caution out, by the way, Justin, and free pass goes to Jeff Stabnow. Guess who's back on the lead lap in position number 21?
Interestingly enough, Stabnow took the tires. Last caution, I would have kept it, honestly, if that was the case. But here comes the rest of the cavalry for the last set of tires for many of these drivers for the rest of this race.
When does it come down to position instead of tires, Justin?
Right now?
Right now.
I mean, there's 3 sets in the pits, right? For these drivers, this is their final set right here.
And let's describe to our audience listening or watching, when these cars take off, like there are 3 wide coming out of the pit area, Raz clears them, it looks like. They're going to be at max speed when that green flag drops here for a shootout.
Yeah, max speed of more than 160, 170 miles an hour at least on that run up through to turn 1. Most drivers, in fact, all have kept it in 4th gear compared to the option of going through the 3rd gear to build up the momentum of the RPMs based on the comfortability tonight. Then once they get out of turn 2, that's been the tricky spot because you have to make sure you're not to the point where you full throttle it and just completely mash into the safer barrier coming out for the corner, but also can't flutter the gas to be able to exit the corner. That's where a lot of the snapping that's come in is drivers getting back on that gas throughout the race tonight. Then by the back straightaway, most of the time, whoever's gotten the best jump out of turn 2 who hasn't snapped around or gotten close to that or set up a great run with the draft off the restart, has been able to zip around to be able to make a pass attempt by turn 3.
Man, oh man. I will say this, though, as we're in our 12th caution of the race, Justin, this has been a fairly entertaining show. I didn't think that we would see something like this here tonight at New Hampshire. Obviously, we covered Sim 500 a couple of weeks ago. They got 25 laps remaining, 35 to go on the time clock, and only 1 caution flag at New Hampshire last week for Sim 500. For the Northwest, Oh, yeah. Yellow flag fiesta here tonight at the Magic Mile.
And again, do not think we're done, especially with every driver who just pit 14th on back for the restart. That is a lengthy time back through this pack coming up.
So, this is what's going to happen. The field is going to come back to the restart. It will be Devin West on the inside. Hidrick on the outside. Ritters and Peterson, along with Anderson, your top 5. Under 25 to go here at New Hampshire. Looking at Tidrick, by the way, a couple of weeks ago on finish line as they come back to restart. Last Wednesday, Justin Prince, he actually said, I got a big permanent black marker circled around New Hampshire. I think I got a shot to win here. He right now sits in that top 3 spots as it's down to the home stretch and they work off 2.
Tidrick amongst those on fresh tires, mind you, joining this conversation. Runs around the outside, gets squeezed up into the wall nearly to by Ritters. 3-1 in the battle for second. Now Anderson dives in, bumps into Ritters. They all slam in each other down the front.
How in the world did they keep from crashing into one another? Ritters got into Anderson. Anderson got into Tidrick. So is Peterson and Camary. And now up in the wall is Tidrick. He rides up into the marbles. He holds on. He about got into Peterson. They hold it together. They go to 3.
Off to 3. Devin West has been able to try and build a buffer of half a second. The question is for how long? Third on back is not done. They bump for third. Tidrick nearly to the wall again.
All of this happening here down the stretch. Closing in on 20 to go. Contact Lowther. Lowther got to Ritters. Ritters got hit by Camary from the back, and that caused him to turn. Yellow flag is out. More cars slamming into the wall. Johnson might have got collected in it, and maybe some more. Caution out here with 20 laps to go. Ritters up in the front from the penthouse to the outhouse for the 23. Heartbreaking for the driver of Thunder Road.
And you see on the replay how things break down. Just a small tap from Dan Lowther on the entry. Enough to snap around the 23. And then Lowther after the initial tap. 1-2, bye-bye. Camary finishes the job. Ryan Bloom joins the party. Stephen Paulison slams the safer barrier trying to lock it up.
Yellow flag out. 20 laps to go this time by when they come to the start finish line. 31 minutes remaining here in sim time. Oh my, 13th caution. Gotta wonder, Justin, we're seeing several times right before the cautions come out, excuse me, where we have massive cloud cover, the sun coming out, and then cloud cover in another part of the racetrack. And I'm really wondering if this is really causing these cars to really act up because of that.
I mean, in theory, usually the cooler the track, the higher the grip level. But it's almost like they're gaining so much speed in turn because of the lower temperatures.
Right, right.
That it's just, you're carrying so much speed that it just snaps around it. There is a possibility that's just so much grip and speed that when they're going back in the gas compared to earlier, it just snaps around.
Let's check weather conditions, bottom right of the monitor right now. We checked on the sim earlier, and right now it's gone down. Air temp is the same, wind speed is the same, partly cloudy sun, partly cloudy, and the track temp was actually 16 degrees warmer when the race started, Justin.
That's a lot colder, to say the very least, compared to earlier with how this is going. But now it's also still. I think you can already scratch overtime out. If we get to that point, it comes down to time, no matter what. Laps is still a question mark. I'm not even sure you could even name a winner yet because Huffines and Raz are cutting through this pack here.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, why? Fresher tires.
And that's the concern for... That's a major concern for Devin West because he's trying to stick it out here on the oldest tires in the field right now.
19 to go, 18 when they come back to the Geico restart zone. Let's give you your full field rundown under the yellow flag. Devin West, Caden Anderson, Lake Peterson, Brian Barnes, Dan Lowther, your top 5. Dylan Huffines, Chris Gameri, Cole Raz, Kevin Smith, Toby Ritters, your top 10.
11th spot is Stephen Paulson for the upcoming restart. Brian Reynolds on some of the newest tires in the field in 12th. Frank Harris and Carl Burke, the top 14. Then Chad Malik is in 15th. KC Garber 16th. Brett Johnson, Jeff Stabnow, BJ Tidrick, Aaron Cooper round up the lead lap drivers in your top 20.
Aaron Cooper again, last car on the lead lap. Ryan Bloom, 21st, 1 lap down. Ron Hunter, 22nd, 1 lap down. Sean Brightsman, 23rd, 3 laps down. Other cars, multiple laps down, including Tyler Kim, Troy Daggett, Chris White, and Justin Yee unable to start this race. Lights are off on the pace car. It will be 17 laps to go. Don't forget, next week, it's Indianapolis for the Northwest Racing Series. We will be in action at Indy for not just the Northwest, but also the trucks and the Sim 500 Cup cars are also at Indianapolis next Wednesday. Or next Monday, I'm sorry, next Monday and Thursday is what I meant to say. Thursday, we're back here for the trucks at New Hampshire. It's been a long day. Green flag back in the air. They are in the Geico restart zone. 16 to go, 828 minutes on sim time. And here we go now. Anderson after West. Brian Barnes up on the outside. Peterson will also have some help with the pole car of Huffines, and the conga line roars a single file a little bit now, 2x2 behind him into 1, or into 3.
Through turn 3, they'll focus on for that race lead coming up because Anderson is winding it up. Yep. Off towards turn 1, Devin West slams the door in Anderson's face.
Devin West says, Caden Anderson, if you were going to get by me, you are going to have to fight for it, claw for it, gouge for it, and you're going to have to rip out my tailons to get it done. They go down into turn number 3. West still protects the outside, protects the inside. I got a feeling some mirror driving's going on right now with the cockpit of the Shelton Washington driver as they come to the line and 15 to go at the magic mile. Anderson looking for the lead into turn 1.
Anderson dives all the way underneath the first seam, bobbles it around. Devin West gives some space for the exit. Anderson tries to use the space, Newey loops it. Able to hold on to it as they go back single file off to turn 3.
In the wall. BJ Tidrick just smacks the outside safer wall barrier. His car is off the pace. I think he's able to continue. No caution. The battle for the lead continues out of turn 4.
Entering turn 1, Anderson to the corner panel at Devin West. Trying to go below the first seam. West trying to squeeze. Peterson trying to diamond behind them. Side by side, Anderson gets turned, gets hit by Devin West. They slam into the wall. They slam to the outside fence. Toby Ritters joins in. Caution flag is out as the top 2 wreck.
Anderson turns West. West gets into Anderson. They slide. They wreck. They crash each other. They are out of it. And Lake Peterson comes out smelling like a red owl, if you will, instead of Rose as the new leader in the number 9. Watch this. Waiting patiently, going after it. You knew, Justin, that Devin West was not going to just give the lead to Caden Anderson. Wow.
And Devin West was running a lane lower than the wall than Anderson may have expected. Got loose on top of it. Turned around Anderson, put them both in the wall, and Toby Ritters ends up slamming into both of them to add insult to injury. And now it's a whole different race. Ritters incident limit. Bloom was to serve a black flag. Kevin Smith mandatory repairs prior to the caution. And BJ Tidrick coming into the pit lane already had to get repairs done as his car was bottoming out.
Tough break for Toby Ritter's. Just victim of circumstance there. A recent caution involving Dan Lowther where he got into him in the corner. No, just nothing but a spin, and then now this time serious damage there as he had just hit right in T-bone to the number 5 of West, the 37 of Anderson. My. And by the way, Hunter, I think, is going to go back on the lead lap in the 22, I believe. Yes, Ron Hunter back on the lead lap, Justin. So now that puts, as we come to 12 to go, 18, 19 cars now on the lead lap here at the Magic Mile. And 18, 12 to go, 11 when they come to the line. 24 minutes remaining in sim time.
With that crash, realistically speaking, you know who has a chance here to try and win this race to get their first of the season? Brian Barnes.
Brian Barnes.
Right
Yes.
in the conversation, the best position Brian Barnes has had all night, plus 15 on the night. The question mark is, can Barnes find a way around Lake Peterson, who's looking to add to his victory total with the 7 coming into tonight, trying to get an 8th?
Trying to get that 8th win, if he can pull it off. Oh, and mind you, obviously, Raz, he took on tires a moment ago when Barnes did. So that you know, don't count him out. Huffines has looked really, really good tonight. I can't pick who's going to win this race. There is no Pied Piper in the field here tonight at New Hampshire, Justin.
Yeah, at this point, basically the flute of the Pied Piper has already been smashed around, bumped around, tug of war around this racetrack tonight. but with under 10 laps to go, it's still not over because Cole Raz is on fresher tires, Dylan Hoffwein's on fresher tires, Aaron Cooper's on the freshest tires in the field coming up for the restart. Lights are out, 9 laps to decide it. And based on the trends, we may see a bonanza of a race lead fight here.
Yeah, I don't think it's done just yet. As we are ready for a restart to when they come back around. Peterson hugs the inside. Outside will go to Brian Barnes. Raz will clean his tires. Juking left and right, cleaning those tires. Behind Peterson. Huffines is right there alongside the pole car in 4th. Dan Lowther 5th. Chris Camary, by the way, had some bad luck, been involved in some accidents a time or two. Started some accidents, but all the while, he is still sitting in 6th. Briar Reynolds, Garber, caution earlier for Casey Garber. He is back into 8th, 9th, and 10th also, as their field is with Garber, Burke, and Harris. All those cars rounding out the top 10. Green flag back in the air. Under 10 remaining, 9 to go at the Magic Mile. Can we get this to the finish? The leader is Peterson off turn 2.
Down the back, Raz trying to wind it up. Trying to find a way to Peterson's back bumper. Barnes runs up the 3rd line, meanwhile, with Huffines. Huffines runs to the inside of Barnes for 3rd.
9, 8, finish line. Tell me something good here in the Magic Mile as Huffine's car is sideways. He spins below the bottom of the apron of the infield grass. Caution will come out with 8 laps to go.
And Huffines avoided the inside wall, and yet again, under the caution.
And another one, Justin, bites the dust.
And another one does, and another. Okay. Either way, again, just too low trying to battle for the pass. As we've seen, if you go below the first seam in turns 1 and 2, it's a recipe for, do you want to spin?
Just lost it on his own. We saw it happen to Kevin Smith earlier, maybe just a little bit more on the exit of the corner off of 2, right there where the blend line is, but pretty much the same scenario. Oh, my. 7 laps to go, 6 to under 20-minute sim time left.
At this point, can they put together a string of 3 laps? Because that's essentially, that's the question.
That's what you need.
Do you want to finish in 3 minutes or on time?
Next week, we're at Indianapolis. Remember that. Indianapolis will be fun with Justin and myself. What were you saying, Justin?
Oh, speaking of Indianapolis, when it comes to that, it is on the oval currently on the schedule. They did have today the new road course layout scanned, added in for Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So the updated road course is in the service now.
That's awesome. And obviously, you know, the Chicago Street Course will be coming soon for NASCAR, the 20-turn Chicago Street Course.
Technically, you can still drive that on the service. Remember, since it came out on iRacing originally with the layout, and look at the map, it's the same layout.
It's with the IndyCar format, am I correct?
Or are you talking about for Indianapolis, or are you talking about Chicago?
No, the street course for Chicago, the Chicago Street Course.
Remember, it debuted with the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series, the Chicago layout. So,
yeah,
you can technically take a swirl at Chicago. I think it's going to pick up a lot of busy timing once you get to 2023, though, in the service. And keep in mind, as mentioned, 3 laps decided, and Cole Raz is already giving some words of pressure to Peterson.
Wow. And they're teammates.
I think Cole Raz wants his lead back. And I think he wants to be the pace car now.
He wants to win.
Yes.
Cole Raz wants to win. All right, so here it is. Sim time closing in here. 5 to go. 4 to go at the start-finish line. 17 minutes remaining. Lights are off on the pace car, so I figured, yeah, green flag, 3 laps to go. They're still in the regular scheduled distance. There still is the opportunity for overtime if necessary. 2 attempts if needed. But then you got to worry, Justin, of running out of the regular sim time of the event.
There's so many unpredictable variables when it comes to this. Dan Lowther has a chance at a top 3, mind you. And he's on the same cycle as Lake Peterson on tires. So there is a chance of several upsets. Frank Harris, he's had some bumping and baiting today. He's up there. Chris Camary has been involved in a lot of incidents. Has a chance for a top 8.
All this about to go down for the restart and for the shootout of this race. Overtime, if needed, it is in there. It's in the wild card if need be. But right now, can we go to the finish? And you just saw Peterson just sail away from Raz. Barnes to 3rd. Somebody's got to make a move. And the caution's out. They're wrecking behind them in turn 2. A massive crash. Several cars involved. That is a multi-car accident. Probably one of the biggest ones of the night. And this just opens up overtime at the Magic Mile. It is not done yet. So many cars, Justin, just got Lady Luck handing them a bad hand dealt down the stretch here in the regular scheduled distance. Here's a look at the replay, buddy.
And it's Aaron Cooper who is the trigger. Gets in the back of the 06 on the entry. The 06 trying to back it up. Spins the 06 into Paulison. And up the track into Ron Hunter. And just about everybody else pulls in. Then you have Kevin Smith back here, who just floors it into 2 cars.
I think he was trying to, like, part the Red Seas, if you will, and look for an opening, and it just wasn't there. Pace car, move it, move it, move it. Daggett there at the bottom, right of the monitor there. Caution out here again. Wow. Man, oh, man, oh, man. Overtime coming up. 15 minutes remaining in sim time. And Justin, can you proudly explain the rules of overtime for the Northwest Racing Series, my friend?
How it works is with the green-white checkered procedure with these drivers, if... Hold on 1 second. Something's just happened on the racetrack. Some tempers have flared involving a few of the drivers towards the back. Toby Ritters got hit by Tyler Kim under caution.
Man, oh man.
I believe their cars are okay, but that did give Toby Ritters a black flag.
Here's a look at what happened that Justin is relaying on here.
It's the first one lap under the pace lap here. Next time around here towards turn 1, the lucky dog, Ryan Bloom, had just been trying to make a move around the track.
And Ryan Bloom is 3 or 4 cars up behind them. That's what
Yeah, so it's going to be,
okay.
it's the run down the front straightaway and off the turn 1 where this is going to be.
Well, we're about to see it here. There's Johnson, and behind him in the 7. Okay, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, they just check up, they get to the pace car, they get to the line.
There's Bloom.
And then Kim gasses it up right into Ritters.
Oh, wow.
And that's a black flag for Ritters.
Wait a second. Kim hit Ritters. How was Ritters getting black flag for?
Incident limit.
Oh, wow. Are you kidding me? That is heartbreaking for Toby Ritters. Man. All right, Justin, overtime. If we have to do it again, let's set them up for him. 3 to go. 2 to go.
As things calm down here for the restart, how this plays out. If you make it to the white flag, as to be expected, the checker flag ends the race. But if you get a caution before we get the white flag, there is another green-white checkered attempt for tonight's race in hand. If there's another caution before they take the white flag during the second green-white checkered, it will end under caution here at New Hampshire. And also don't forget, with the time limit being a potential factor, it could go either way by the second GWC based on the trends right now.
2 attempts at a green-white checker. There is 12 minutes remaining in sim time. They need 2 laps to get this around to the CRN 1 to go, and the race is considered official. Remember, if they take the white flag, the race is considered done. Caution will reset again, and then you got to wonder if they're running out of time. Pace car is in. Peterson on the restart zone. The Geico restart zone powers away from Raz, and they're not done yet. Here we go, side by side behind them for third. That's Barnes and Lowther. Here comes now Reynolds in the mix. Lowther gives a shot to Barnes. 1.5 laps to go to the back straightaway. Oh, trouble wrecking. Anderson puts the car in the wall. He gets turned. Another car turns. Stab now down to the infield grass. Caution is out again. Overtime number 2 coming up here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Wow.
Wow, indeed. And more drivers with significant troubles. Let's take a look at the replay. Anderson's night started so promising at some points. Anderson's luck has ran out completely with a snap hard up off of turn 2.
Now look at this, just sideways, bonsai'd off of Burke. Burke saved it, then Burke slammed in to Jeff Stabnow. They go into the infield grass below the bottom of the apron. Paulison got collected with Caden Anderson. And again, wow. Oh, and all the while, Justin, we still go into overtime. Number 2, lap 144. 10 minutes remaining in sim time, mind you.
So I don't know if we're going to have the time factor in. It might be within a couple minutes. But here's the thing. Is there enough time for Raz to set up a pass on Peterson? Because, remember, Raz is on slightly newer tires. But I don't think that's going to be the major factor at this point, obviously, with how this is playing out. As Brightsman gets the lucky dog, this time to get to 1 lap down. The
Man,
fireworks were
Sean,
ready to...
It seems like yesterday, if you will, Justin. And it is in our world on the East Coast. West Coast is still their regular time. But, man, it seemed like at one time Sean Brightsman would have been one of those guys that would have been a contender to win this race for sure.
I think, too, Raz was ready to set up a pass on Peterson, was making it look like he was not afraid to use a bump if necessary, or the yellow flag started to wave in the air. But I don't know how this could play out at this point. Raz needs a chance to get to the inside of Peterson or pressurize Peterson into another mistake to have a shot here, realistically speaking, in just 2 laps to do it.
All right, so here you go. As Justin reiterated on, this is the final attempt to try to get this race in. If the caution comes out again, the race is considered official. If they take that CRN1 to go and they wreck behind them, you're going to bet they're going to race all the way back to the finish to decide the winner. All bets are off if they take that white flag, by the way, Justin. They're racing back to the flag.
Yeah, this is going to get wild. Again.
This has been an eventful race tonight. Did you think New Hampshire would end up this way for these cars?
Not at all. Not at all. Not this crazy.
And there has been so many storylines that have gone on throughout the night with so many drivers. And still we continue. Don't count out Brian Barnes or Dan Lowther. Look at Brian Reynolds up there. Frank Harris, Justin, in the top 10 and 6th. What a run for the legend.
Yeah, still Chris Camari's up there as well. Don't forget, Aaron Cooper on the newest tires in the pack is still inside the top 10 now as well. Will there be any chance to utilize them?
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have a total of 147 laps completed. 7 minutes remaining in sim time. 2-lap shootout. Overtime. Green-white checker number 2. Pace car drops onto the pit lane. Field is in the Geico restart zone. Raz has a little bit of run on Peterson, but he's got to give it back. Peterson says, gracias. He will pull away. 1 car length on Raz. They go into turn number 2.
Raz trying to reel out the fishing rod to get to Peterson. Peterson with a good exit. Working the way to the backstretch. Trouble.
Hunter in the wall. Turns the car. Anderson slams the wall. Paulison got turned. Still no caution. There's the yellow flag. That's the way the race will finish. Blake Peterson will come to the line. He will take the CRN1 to go under the caution flag. And this race will be considered official at New Hampshire. Wow.
And that's an understatement of a word, to say the very least.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Unreal, I think, is another way to describe it too.
They're going to make sim time, but this is the final lap. By the way, it is the CRN1 to go, even though it's under caution. They will come to the line, the white flag, and it will now come to checker. This time by. You see the scoring just changed. Finishing, Lake Peterson did what he needed to do because it was just a demo derby and a squared circle behind them to hold off Cole Raz and win a caution field race tonight at New Hampshire for Lake Peterson. It will be his 8th win this year. Wow. 8 wins, 8 poles for the number 9 Hooters Camaro. And only fitting, Justin, that number 9 Chase Elliott in the Cup Series many times has won the next night. Number 9 Lake Peterson in the number 9 for the Northwest Racing Series. I kind of find that ironic. He's done that a couple of times this year.
And Peterson able to just take advantage in part with the situations going on throughout the race, had the right strategies, got the right places, right times. It could have went very differently, to say the very least, as they have to be careful here.
Yeah.
A few people passed the pace car here, so the race results may get a bit scrambled in the sim here. Keep in mind.
Blake Peterson ain't even crossed the start-finish line yet. I would go ahead and cross the start-finish line just to be safe. Now I guess you could try to burn it down. Oh, wow. I'm not sure what just happened there, but the race is official. We heard them come to the checkered flag. Can we see the race summary one more time? Bottom left of the monitor. How many caution flags total? 18 yellow flags, 69 laps. Lead changes 14. And even though it's been an extended yellow flag twin shootout, they're still going to have the high five salute as the parts come tearing off the cars for Lake Peterson, Justin Prince. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Results. Don't forget Majors Garage and Weed Sports Speedway with the big block modifieds coming up in a few weeks on a Sunday night. Lake Peterson, by the way, is the winner tonight. Cole Raz under the yellow flag. Dan Lowther second, Dan Lowther third, Brian Barnes fourth. Frank Harris, a solid top five, probably one of the best finishes for him this year. Casey Garber battles back, having problems. Brian Reynolds, Chris Camary, Aaron Cooper, Devin West, all these cars having issues a time or another and coming back to finish in a solid top 10.
11th spot tonight, going to Dylan Huffines' direction. Meanwhile, Stephen Paulson 6 seconds back under the pace lap to end off the race in 12th. Carl Burke survives to finish 13th. Brett Johnson, after his very big incident, in 14th. Jeff Stabnow 15th. Sean Brightsman 16th after a race during the cool-down lap through the road course. Toby Ritters finishes 17th. Then it's Caden Anderson 18th. Ryan Bloom disqualified for incident points in 19th. Ron Hunter, who had suspension damage from the previous caution, involved in the final one to finish in 20th.
21st, all these cars multiple laps down are unable to start. Chad Malik in the 06, 00, Kevin Smith, Tyler Kim with the 30, Troy Daggett, BJ Tidrick. What heartbreak. I thought at one time Tidrick was going to be the man to possibly run there to look for a checkered flag. Something went wrong. He couldn't get it back. He'll settle for 25th. Chris White as well for the defending series champion. A bad night for him. And Justin Yee unable to start this race. 18 cautions for 149 laps of distance here tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Coming up, finish line, post-race wrap-up. Boy, we're going to talk to him quickly. We're going to get off the air quickly. What a wild night at the Magic Mile. We hope you enjoyed it. Justin about South Wesley Outlet. Excited to bring it to you every Monday, Thursday night, Northwest Racing Series. iRacing on LSRTV, the Community Radio Network, and Lake Peterson gets his 8th win in double overtime of the year. Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's time for the finish line post-race wrap-up. Hampton Heat 200 winner Jared Fryer, winner at Bowman Gray Stadium, and of course all the other great winners of Bobu, Dalton, and others going to be on finish line. 1 hour, by the way, this upcoming Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon here, iRacing on LSRTV. Hope you can join us. And of course, we grab now our top 3 for the finish line post-race wrap-up for the Northwest. And joining us first is, of course, the driver of the number 63, Dan Lowther. Somebody we don't really get to talk to that much unless it's in a pro or a super late model. But, Dan, what a drive for you tonight, man. You get the silver, 3rd place. Your take of this wild, caution-filled night here at the Magic Mile, New Hampshire.
Oh, I mean, I had a good time. I thought it was fun. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of cautions. I've kind of been out of the iRacing thing for a little while with racing the real race cars, but it was good to get back in here and dice up the guys up front, and really had a good time. Just got to say sorry again to Toby. I kind of took him out a little bit earlier in the race on accident, so felt bad about that one, but overall it was a fun time.
What made tonight so difficult, in your opinion, for the drivers? Because, at least from our perspective, turn 2 seemed to be a very treacherous place.
Yeah, these cars, they kind of have drove this way all year long, where they have a tight, loose situation, and then turn 2, you add in the track kind of has a little bit of a banking change between that bottom and second groove, and if you catch that with your left sides, it really tends to upset the car and get it sideways. So it's a fine line between just right and just too much.
Obviously, man, your take of this race, we're going to make things short here because obviously it's been a long, long night. I don't think anybody expected it to be what it was. Dan, what does it mean to get this first solid top 3 podium finish of the year? And, I mean, obviously this has got to be a momentum booster, especially heading into the postseason and down the stretch to try to get into the top 12.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps me out and makes me want to start maybe doing a few more of these again when I get time. You know, I've been too busy to do it, but yeah, it's good to run up front, top 3, and there's some tracks coming up that I really enjoy. So looking forward to it. Just thanks again, LSRTV, and all the group that puts these races on.
Dan Lowther, they've just updated the race results again for New Hampshire. It's third top 5 and 4 top 10s this year for the driver, the number 63 in his first podium finish this year with Dan Lowther. Runner-up of the event, Cole Raz, second spot in the points. The winner is Blake Peterson. He is number 1 in the points. This will be your 9 top 5 and 11 top 10s. Cole, your take of this race here, man, pretty heated, double overtime, exciting race. What's your take?
I mean, it was a interesting night to say the least. I don't know why this group struggles to keep the car straight in late race scenarios like that. So I would have wished to battle it out with Lake there on a long run there, but you know, hats off to him. I mean, that's his 8th win on the year. So I mean, didn't get too much practice to come in tonight, so I always like New Hampshire. It's a challenging track, the way it flattens out off of 2, and with this car, it makes it a little tough to drive off that corner. So overall, it was a decent night, good points tonight, got some bonus points, led some laps, and I think that's all you can ask for, just 1 spot short.
Well, there is a bright spot too throughout the night. You were the only driver in the field to not get an incident point, and when it comes to tonight, how difficult was it to pick the right strategy to try and put yourself in the position to try and win the race tonight?
I think that was a big thing. I mean, you had so many different strategies going on throughout the field, and I got off sequence with my group, and I had Briar Reynolds with me on the same strategy. So, you know, it was just kind of dependent on how it shake out with yellows there at the end, and unfortunately didn't get to have those long runs to really have the tire fall off between the 2 strategies. So end of the day, it didn't matter too much. Just their strategy worked out good because they had the track position to stay up front, and you know, the caution flags fell into their hand. And yeah, I mean, strategize racing like that's always entertaining. You know, just wish we had the green flag runs to have it pan out.
Well, Cole, it's on to Indianapolis, and it's only 3 wins for you this year, but obviously doing really, really well. Behind the championship points leader, Peterson, by 34. Final question, segue that into your sponsors as well. Do you feel like it's going to be you and Peterson and even Anderson for this championship whenever we reset the run for the round of the 12 to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 3 of us, and I mean, you can't count out Brian Barnes. He's been so consistent this year, and you know, Sean and Dan have had their share of bad luck, so I feel like it's pretty wide open. I think the 3 of us have really come out strong this year, but anything can change over the course of these next few weeks. So we just gotta stay on our A game and try and keep it clean. You know, I think that's all you can ask for, and hopefully you're in the best position possible at the end of the race, and hopefully keep picking up some more wins like our team's doing. And big thank you to LSRTV, the Master Wrench, Wells Johnson, Whiskey Ridge, Jefferson Racing, McGonigal Race Engines, Magnus Rear Ends, everybody that helps us out on the real side. Yeah, I mean, everybody, it helps put this series on. It's really enjoyable when we have good nights, and I think tonight was just one of those off ones for the group.
Well, there you go. There's the thoughts of the 15 starts, 3 wins, 2 poles, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s for Cole Raz. He'll finish second in this race and stay second in the point standings when everything tallies out. Victory lane we go. Lake Peterson, 8 wins now with 8 poles, 10 top 5s, 12 top 10s. By the way, the top 10 of the points are separated by mere close to 200 points, 166 points to be exact. The top 7 are separated by only 71. Lake, are you thinking championship run, man, or is it just still continue to do as much as you can to get wins? Congratulations on number 8. I know it wasn't easy tonight at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, you're always trying to aim for the championship and keep momentum rolling. I'm hitting a string of tracks that I'm not really all that good at. I think tonight I really benefited from other people's misfortunes, similar to real life racing this week. So, I mean, I don't know. You got to get the strategy right. I definitely wanted to pit before Cole and Devin there to try and come out ahead of them in case it did cycle. And thankfully it did. But it was unfortunate that Caden and Devin got into an incident there, and then you just got to maintain track position from there. I would have liked to have battled out with Cole there. I mean, kind of like you wait a week for these races, and when they don't end under green, it's kind of not disappointing, but just not exactly how you want to finish a race. I guess I'd say.
And I'll ask the same question to you in terms of the rotation of the strategies tonight. What was that decision making like for you? Because in the end, it got you 22 laps led in victory.
Yeah, I just thought it was really important to, well, you can kind of hang on there with tires if there was a couple short green flag runs. You kind of get a couple heat cycles in them, and then I felt like you would still be pretty even. There'd be less of an advantage for you if you had older tires, but it would somewhat even out. And I just wanted to put myself in a position where I could maximize my track position potential. So I kind of just hopped on the same strategy as Caden there. We decided that around like 105 to 115 would be the money spot for us to pit, and so that's kind of like what we decided on. It ended up working out for me. Because I did get good track position, but I didn't come out in front of Caden, and then he got into a racing deal there. And yeah, I just tried to maintain track position for the rest of the race. It was really hard to pass out there.
Lake, segue that into your sponsor's final question, and we'll get off the air here, bud. Why do you feel like there was such aggressive driving with all the cautions that we had here tonight in this race?
You know, I'm not sure, because for myself, there was plenty of I had plenty of opportunities to get above or below someone throughout the race, and I was not comfortable enough to do so. Maybe other people were, and they felt like they needed to gain spots as quick as they could on their newer tires. But I mean, there was even times within a run there where people on older tires, including myself, I made plenty of mistakes too. It's really hard to get around this place, and this is not one of my better tracks. But I think people trying to make up spots because it's hard to pass, and then the combination of the track being hard to drive, I think that just kind of led into what we saw tonight. I don't think anyone means to wreck on purpose. It's just tough out there. Just need to get a little bit of patience.
Well, it's on to the next one. Go ahead and thank your sponsors, buddy. Congratulations to you.
Yeah. I want to thank everyone at KAR and Ski Fleet Enterprises. I didn't get much practice in today, and when I did hop in the session, they were really helpful. So I did appreciate that, which was nice of them. Want to thank everyone in the league that puts this thing together. I mean, I think we got something special here that not a lot of other people's within like their I don't know, territories. Like we got the Northwest area. I think it's pretty cool that we got a community like this, and I think everyone here is most of the part on the same page. And Phoenix Designs for the wicked cool paint schemes, and you guys, awesome broadcast as always. I'm really looking forward to going and watching this one back. Might skip through the cautions, but yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you guys do. You guys do a really
It
good job.
definitely was. It definitely was a wild one tonight for sure. There's you go, Lake Peterson, 8th win this year. Again, going into the lead of the point standings. 4 races left to go before the run for the round of 12 of the playoffs. Justin, we're going to get off here quickly, man. Your final take of things. I'll sum mine up with one word: unpredictable. I think tonight described that here for the Northwest Cup Series at Magic Mile. It's on to Indianapolis next Monday.
It was definitely a very wild night, to say the very least. Attrition built up a lot more than I think that was, and it was projected. But in the end, it put on some great racing too, with what we've seen tonight, with so many different race leaders and different contenders throughout the night. It could have went any direction, but in the end, it's Lake Peterson who takes advantage and takes the victory.
Yeah, and by the way, the Northwest Racing Series trucks will have their shot at the Magic Mile here at Thursday night. Greg Brinson and myself will be on the call for that one. Mason Heimbaugh will be on the production for that. Coming up as well, John Mustian Jr. will also be joining us as well for the coverage with the trucks on Thursday. As always, you can follow us at iRacing and Northwest Racing Series on Facebook, at iRacing, and of course at LSRTV, at CRN Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Congratulations, Lake Peterson, 8th win of the year. So, for Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, everybody at Rocket Media and iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio